What's good? Rikin here, and today I want to talk about whether or not you should negotiate your intern pay. Now, intern pay is something that's really not talked about much. There's very few websites talking about it. Some say you should always negotiate, some say you shouldn't. So today I want to talk about that just a little bit. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and give you an answer to whether or not you should negotiate, but rather I want to give you some things you should consider so that way you can better analyze the situation and make your own call. When it comes to internship pay, you've got to think about not only your perspective, but also the perspective of the employer. From your perspective, obviously you're thinking, I'm going to be doing the same work as a full-time employee, and I should at least be paid a fraction of that. So if the person who you're working for and is doing the same work as you is being paid 60 bucks an hour or 50 bucks an hour, you might think, hey, I should be at least paid 15 bucks an hour. And here's the alternative. The employer is thinking from the opposite perspective. The employer is thinking from the opposite perspective. They're thinking, hey, I'm bringing on a new person. I have no idea what their experience is. I have no idea whether or not they're going to be a dud or they're going to be a rock star. There's a good chance that they're going to come in and really just waste a bunch of my time. So am I really going to pay them for the privilege of doing so? If you're in that situation, think of it this way. When you come in as an intern, there's probably going to be a full-time person who's working 8 hours a day, who's going to spend 2 hours out of their day now coaching you and teaching you what you need to know. So instead of that person getting 6 hours of work done, instead of that person getting 8 hours of work done, they're only getting 6 hours of work done. And on top of that, they're paying you for the privilege of getting less work done. Now, maybe you'll actually do something productive with those 8 hours that you have. Or maybe you'll sit around and actually cost the company a lot of money. And that's something that you can't know until you hire someone. So from the perspective of a small business who's looking to hire interns, that's taking a huge risk. So yes, they're going to pay you whatever the minimum wages or whatever the competitive rate is, but they might not be willing to pay you as much as you're actually worth, even if you're providing much more value. So how do you get over that hurdle? How do you go ahead and get yourself to a point where you can make more money as an intern? I do think interning is a great way of making money. It's often a better gig than working a lot of minimum wage jobs. The first thing I would do is go ahead and prove experience. The second thing I would do is offer value from day one. So obviously you're not going to be the most productive employee from day one, but after 2 or 3 weeks, once you feel like you've gotten the right things, then maybe go ahead and negotiate instead of trying to negotiate before you start the job. Once you kind of prove that you offer value, once you prove that you're a really productive employee, you can go ahead and try to negotiate that. The other thing I would think about is, what are your alternatives? If you have 3 or 4 options and one's paying more, maybe then you can say, look, someone down the street is paying me twice as much for doing the same work, but I really love working for you guys. Would you guys be willing to at least match that or get close to that? That's another way of matching that. But as a whole, I think about, what are you offering to the company? If you don't have a strong resume, if you're a freshman or sophomore, go with the mindset, look, I'm doing this, I'm putting my time, and I'm not going to be paid that much, but hopefully it'll pay off in the long term. And that's the mindset I would take. It's not the 3-week or 3-month perspective, how much money am I going to make this summer, but how much money am I going to make over the next 3 summers that I have? I do think taking an internship early on where you're being paid $8 an hour or $10 an hour is really worth it, because that way you can come back next year and command a much higher rate. Now, in next week's video, I'm going to talk about how you can negotiate your pay once you start and what's the effective way of doing so. But if you're a new intern and you're really thinking about it, I would highly suggest think about what value are you offering, what are your alternatives, and base your decision off of that. Don't base it off of what someone else is being paid, but rather, again, what value are you offering, how much money are you making the company, and what are other people willing to pay you? And once you have that experience, then you can go ahead and use that as leverage down the road. So I hope that video was helpful. I hope you guys learned something. If you guys enjoyed that video, please go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. As always, I'll see you guys in the next one.